Yes, very good morning, everyone. So yesterday we have discussed about what is RPA and what are the different tools we have in RPA. This all we have discussed. Let me go ahead with the Blue Prism now. Okay. So during the session, if you have any doubts, please enter in chat window so that I can read sometime and I can go for give the explanation. And end of the session, there will be a questionnaire section. In the questionnaire section, we can have the discussions. Okay. So today also it's a second session. It's going to be Duma. Tomorrow also again we have the session, and it's going to be again another demo. Then fine. So this is the Blue Prism tool. This Blue Prism tool is developed by Blue Prism company, UK-based company we discussed yesterday, right? So this company has built this tool, okay, by using the .NET framework, front end as a .NET framework, and back end as SQL server. Back end is SQL server. They have used these two things, front end as a .NET framework, and back end as a SQL server, and they have designed this tool and they have released into the market. So if any client want to do the automation, if they want to automate their business applications, for example, some clients are there, let's say manufacturing or financial clients, they might be using some business applications like ERP application or BPM applications. So those applications, who are using those applications now, client employees, human workforce is using. Now we would like to go for use the digital workforce in the place of human workforce. Let's say one human is going to take 30 minutes time to enter one record. Let's say in insurance company, obviously, if some customer comes for insurance entry, it takes 30-35 minutes to enter the data in all applications. That work can be done by my digital workforce. Nothing but my software robot can be completed within 5 to 6 minutes, not more than that. The remaining time you can use your human workforce for any analysis purpose or reporting purpose. So it doesn't mean that RPA is going to remove the humans in the place of workstations like end users, but it will be have some impact. Definitely it will have some impact. But the major reason is repetitive works, we don't want to utilize the human workforce. We want to use the human workforce to take some decisions, business decisions, and do some dynamic thinking and make the work is faster. If the work is faster, you can use your human workforce some business thinking or any other aspects. Okay, so automation is not only for decrease the human workforce and save the cost. It will be helpful in many ways, number of ways it will be helpful to do some R&D on the market, and to make some of the things are very fast, and to get the result, whether it is fail or fast doesn't matter. I wanted to know, for example, I would like to conduct a survey. So this survey details I would like to enter with by using human workforce. I can do it, but it will take time. I don't want to waste that time, and all. It has to happen within hours or within days. So in that scenario, the automation comes into the picture. Okay. So there are number of tools as we discussed earlier, automation anywhere, Blue Prism, this all. Just 1 second, guys. Okay. So now Blue Prism is one of the automation tool. Blue Prism is one of the automation tool. By using this tool, we can automate any business application, any type of business application. Your client may be using Microsoft products. Your client may be using some Java-based application, web-based applications, mainframe applications, Okay, SAP, Oracle, this any type of applications can be automated. Okay, fine. So with the moment when I open the blue Prism, I can see some tabs here: home tab, studio, and control room. And then we'll see the dashboard, then we'll see the releases, and then we can see some system environment and licenses and other information. This, whatever the tabs we have here, the same thing left side we can see with the icons. Here we have the home tab, same thing here we have with the home icon. And then we have the studio, and then we have the control room, and then we have the dashboards, and then we have the releases, and then we have the system setups. So whatever the tabs we have on the top of this tool, the same thing we have left side, the tools. Okay, fine. So what is the purpose of home page is basically it will show you what are the automations you have done, how many business processes you have automated, and what about the queues. Queues will discuss one of the important concept in the Blue Prism latest. And what about the database tables? As I told, SQL Server is the backend, so which will shows the information of that out. And workforce availability. When I say workforce, digital workforce, software robots, how many are available, how many are registered at resource. Resource is nothing but a systems. For example, you want to allocate your bot in 20 systems. Let's say you built one software robot and the bot should work in 20 systems at a time. It means indirectly 20 members are working on the application. Okay, so resource is nothing but one resource is nothing but one system. One resource is nothing but one system. That's so in the home page we can see the analysis, how the things are going on about our software robots. And this is what our work, 90% of our work will be on the studio. 90% of our work in the projects will be on the studios. As yesterday we discussed, there are two studios we have. One is process studio, another one is object studio. One is process studio, another one is object studio. By using the object studio, you can build the business objects. Now we can see here, view detail about processes or business objects. Okay, so here we can see that two studios we have. One is process studio, another one is a object studio. What we discussed yesterday we talked about let me open the presentation what we discussed yesterday. And in fact I've shown you an Excel sheet, right? Yesterday we discussed process studio will have a group of business objects here. Okay, so business object 1 and business object 2 and business object 3. Okay, so by using the object studio, you can build the business objects. You can build the business objects, and all these business objects you are going to call from the process. You are going to call from the process. Okay, so every business object will have the pages. Every page will have the actions, and you can have either one page or multiple pages. And once the business objects are available, then you will call these business objects from the process studio. Okay, from the process studio you are going to call the business objects. So that's our main work is here. Once your process are built successfully, once you build the process successfully, it will be available in your local machine. In your local repository it will be stored. That you should upload into server. From the server you have to deploy in the resources. Okay, that's called control room. From the control room, what you can see is what are the processes are available in your server and what are the resources are connected to your server. What are the resources are connected to your server, and this process you wanted to execute in a, but let's say 20 resources are connected. Nothing but your server is connected with 20 systems. Okay, and you built a software robot. Your robot is ready, and you want to run this bot in a particular system. So what you can do, you can go for drag and drop in this particular area, and then it will show you process, resource, who is running, status, when the bot is started and when the bot is end up. Okay, so this is control room. From here you are going to manage all your bots and with your systems. That's called control room. Okay, And then you will see the dashboard. Here we don't find any reports, but still by end of the day or end of the week or end of the month, I wanted to know what is the performance of my bots, how many bots are deployed and how many bots are successfully running, any bots are errored out, what is the production, how much time it has took, because here time is important, right? That's what you are showing to our client. Okay, so this all we can see the complete information, dashboard information. Then we will see the releases. Once you build the bot, you are going to release that to the client. So that client is going to use that bot in the system. After 1 month, client want to make some changes. Client want to make some changes. So version 1 you are released. After 1 month, client wants some changes. Again, you will update that and you will release that. Second release. Maybe client is likely wanted to have the old release only he is like. So then again you can release the first one. So release manager is basically to release your developments, versions will be maintained. So in other software projects, you might have seen some version control tools like Microsoft, if it is, where they'll be using the VSS, version software controls. Like that, there will be some different tools, but here it can be maintained within the Blue Prism. Within the Blue Prism, it can be maintained. And system tab is basically to find what are the processes you have and what are the objects and what are the resources and workflows, security, audit, and environment variable. This all we will see here. Okay, but these all are setups which we have to implement. We don't find much designing work or any logical work here. Just we have to select options either in the release tab or in the system or dashboard. Control room is very important. We'll be talking about. Sada, I'll give you the time so that we can talk it later. There will be a questionnaire section. That time we can discuss because it's a crowd of 65 members, right? So please ready with the questions. I'll give you the time. That time you can ask the questions. Otherwise, you can enter the question in the chat window. I'll read the question after some time and give the answer. Thank you. When I go to the studio, now I can see the process studio. So whenever we want to automate any business application, first you need to run the application first, so that you will come to know what actions you have to perform. Okay, so what is basically RPA project? Whenever we say we are a RPA developer, when we go to the client place, when we talk about with the RPA with client, the client will ask us what exactly we will do. Then we will tell that, are you using any business application like maybe SAP or Salesforce or Oracle applications or Windows? It can be any application. If the client says, yes, I'm using some business applications, first, as an architect, as a RPA architect, yesterday we discussed there will be two roles, right? RPA architect and RPA developer. As an architect, what is my job? As an architect, we can call it as a project manager also. As an architect, I am supposed to go through the entire application navigation, and I have to understand what are the processes I can automate and what are the processes I cannot automate, and what is the reason for that, and is there any alternative workaround is there, that I have to identify, and I have to give the information to the client, and I have to tell to the client that this is the return on investment report. It means the following processes I am ready to automate. For that, this is the investment you are supposed to do, and once you invest this much of money, then this is the timeline you are going to get return on investment. Your client might have invested 2 crores today. Obviously, you have to tell to your client when he's going to get that money back, either in the time wise or cost wise or resources reducing wise. In some ways, we have to show it to the client. Then client will say, okay, I'm interested. There is some result in that. I am ready to go ahead. So once that is done, then what architect will do is he will go for gather the processes, whatever the things he is going to automate, the processes, whatever he is going to automate. Okay. So now what we wanted to do is, I would like to go for a simple automation today. One simple application we'll discuss. That's the basic flow we are going to talk. Let's say I would like to launch the Internet Explorer. Whenever we are doing the automation, generally we will prefer Internet Explorer application. Okay, so this is the Internet Explorer web application we'll be using, browser will be using. Why we prefer this is most of the clients will be working on this. For example, if your client says that I don't want to use the Internet Explorer, I would like to go with Google Chrome. Yes, you can go with Google Chrome also, but again you need to install the Google Chrome plugins. Google Chrome patches you have to apply in the automation tool, then it will be browser compatible. We call it as a browser compatibility. Then it will be work. By default, all the automation tools are going to 100% support for Internet Explorer. If your client particularly says I am using the browser as Google Chrome, then we need to go with the plugins and apply. Okay. So what I have done first, I have opened the Internet Explorer browser and I'm going to enter a URL here saying that facebook.com. That's the URL I have entered here, right? So that's the second action I have applied. Then I'm going to enter a email ID here. Then I'm going to enter the password here. Then I'm going to click the login button. After we click the login button, it's telling that there is some problem in the password. Let me check it. Yes, perfect. Okay. So once we log in, then I'm trying to select this option and go to log out. Okay. So these are the sequence of steps I have performed. Sequence of steps I have performed. That's what yesterday we discussed. The sequence of meaningful activities is nothing but a process. This is a basic definition of process. It's not related to Blue Prism. It's not related to automation anywhere. This is a basic definition. What is the meaning of process? Sequence of meaningful activities or actions that make up a process. Okay. During this sequence of steps, you may be using multiple systems. You may be using multiple applications also. Just now I used only one application. Which application I have used? Browser based application I have used. Okay. So maybe you will be using two applications. One is Windows, another one is a browser. Okay. To enter your information. Okay. So this I wanted to go for automate. This I wanted to do it automate. So whatever the sequence of activities are there, the same thing we are going to perform without any human interference. Without any human interference, we are going to perform. So to do this automation, you can use any tool. As I told, you can use any tool. Automation anywhere you can use. Blue Prism you can use. UiPath and WorkFusion. What is the difference between all these four? We cannot tell more words because all are automation tools. Depends on the client price. Depends on the client budget. Whatever they want, they can go for it. Automation anywhere is very high price. Very high price. And then Blue Prism, second place. UiPath is there in the third. WorkFusion is very less. Okay, so depends on the price, but obviously security will be more in Blue Prism. Blue Prism security will be more. In automation anywhere, also security is there, but somewhere the commands and user friendly, which is more user friendly automation anywhere. Okay, fine. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to write the sequence of steps here. So first we have to launch the application. Which application you want to launch? Facebook.com. That is application. Then second, we would like to enter the email ID, nothing but user ID, right? Nothing but username in the username field, in the email ID field. Then third one, we are going to enter the password in the password field. Then we are going to click the button called, which button you are going to click? Login button. Then we are going to select the exit menu. There is an exit menu. Then you are going to select that. After that, what we are going to do? We are going to select the menu option called menu option called, what is the option? Logout. This is the business process. This is one simple, very simple. Just we are login to login and we are going to log out. That's very simple. But when we are working in the projects, it will be more. But anywhere, first you have to capture the process. As a RPA developer, first you need to run the application. First you have to run the application. And once you run the application, you will come to know what are the actions you have to perform. That you need to design a document. Here I have entered in the notepad, but generally we have a documentation part. When you are working in the project, you are supposed to prepare a document. There is a methodology for that. We'll talk about that later. Okay, we'll talk about that later. So this is the simple document which I have prepared here. Okay, so now we will see how we can work with it. This is very simple automation. So I can do in one business object. I don't require multiple business objects. I don't need multiple business objects. I can perform in a single business object. How many actions are required now here? Six actions I required. Six actions I required. And how many pages? One page is enough. If you want to divide into the multiple pages, you can divide, but one page is enough right now. Okay. So go to Blue Prism application. Once you enter into the Blue Prism application, there is a object studio. First, we have to create our business object. Right click. Now it's going to ask you create object. Do you want to create a business object? Yes. I would like to start my work, automation work, by creating a new business object. Now it's going to ask me, enter a name for the business object. Enter the name for business object. What is the name of? Let's say RTL underscore Facebook. RTL underscore Facebook. That's the name of the business object I have entered. Click next button. Enter a description of the business object. Generally in in Blue Prism, when you are going to build any business object or process object, it will ask you the description about that business object. So when you see the business object, then you will come to know what exactly this will do. Just a couple of lines about that particular business object. Okay. Just like comment. Okay. So this is my first automation process in Blue Prism. This is my first automation process in Blue Prism. Okay, click finish button. Now what happened? Your business object has created successfully. Okay, and double click on this. You need to double click on this. Now which studio has opened? Object Studio. Still we have not entered into the process studio. Process studio will be entering tomorrow session. Tomorrow session will be discussing the process studio. We are in the object studio still, and you are trying to edit your business object called RTL underscore Facebook. That's a business object we are trying. The moment when we enter into the object studio, left side you can see the commands. This is all we are using to automate the application. These are the only commands you are going to use to automate your business application. Okay. And then there are three tabs: initialize page, clean up place, action one. We'll talk about these two pages later. In every business object, these two will be available. We'll talk about these two later. This is what actually our page. This is what actually our page. This is what our action one is there. Right click. I want to rename the page name. I want to rename. So I'm going to say RTL Facebook login page. RTL Facebook login page. That's what I'm going to give the name of the page. Press OK. Now we can see the name has changed, page. So yesterday, as I told, when you are creating a business object, you will find the first pages. You will find the pages first. Then inside of the pages, you will find the actions. Okay. So actions we are going to do. By default, start and end action will be there. Start action and end action. This is very common. You might have seen any programming languages or somewhere. Definitely there will be a begin and end. The same way here also we have two actions which are built in. By default we'll see one is start, another one is a end. One is a start action, another one is a end action. Okay, fine. So you can maximize this according to our requirement. So first what you want to do is you would like to launch an application. You would like to launch an application. So how can you launch an application? There is option here, navigate. Navigate. So by using the navigate option, you can go for launch the application. You are navigating into some application. You are navigating into some application. Right click, properties, or double click. When you double click, you will get a properties window. Okay. So here you can see the properties we have to configure. Okay. Now, very important concept called application modular. Application modular. So what is application modular? Yesterday we have discussed. Application modular is basically to spy your application. So to spy your application means to interact with your application. Okay. When I click application modular, it's going to ask me what is the application model name of the application model. So do you want to go with application name as this? Yes. Do you want to go with application model name as yes, this? Say the application module of another object. If already application module is there, that you can access from here. Don't use an application model with this object. I don't want to use application model in this object. But right now we required application model. Why do we require application modeler? So okay. So when I open any application, I have to recognize where is my email ID field, where is my password field, where is my login button, okay, which application I have to navigate. This all will be configured from the application modeler. From the application modeler you are going to call. We'll call it as a simply application model. Application model. Okay. So enter application name, click next button. It's going to ask me what type of application you are using right now. Is it Windows application? You are automating Windows, or is it a Java based application? Is it browser based application? Or is it mainframe application? Which application you are automating right now? This is a browser based, right? Select browser based application. The moment when we select browser based application, it's going to ask me indicate what type of application you are using. A browser which is already running means your browser is already opened, or a browser that is launched from an executable file. Do you want to launch me that application? You have to indicate. So I said I want to launch it. The application is not opened. Let's launch the browser and execute. Okay. So I'm going to select browser that is launched, and now it's going to ask me, we selected, I told you Internet Explorer, right? Internet Explorer is by default. That's why it's trying to open that application in browser by default. In case if you want to something Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, some other browsers, you can select from here. Now click next button. Please enter the URL of your start page and any of other command line parameters. Right. Now what is our URL? Facebook.com. Right. Enable Java integration techniques. Those are nothing but a Java plugins. Any plugins are required, that will do. Otherwise, leave it. Exclude HTC component, which will improve the performance. Those are related to some other options. We can leave it. That's not a problem. Now select the application manager mode. There will be a different modes. I'll talk to you later this. Let me go with the default values. Finish. So what we have done, we have created an application model. Okay. So this is when you select your application model, which will tell you your application name and the browser and the URL and what setups you have configured over there. Okay. Press. Now your application modeler is ready. Okay. So now go to navigate and you have to enter here launch. Any pair, any name you can mention. Launch Facebook application. Where is your URL details here, right? So you have to drag this here. You have to drag this here. So here is your URL, your application URL, and we have already mentioned in which browser you want to open this, every detail, what action you are going to perform. Do you want to launch this application or do you want to terminate this application? What exactly you want to do? Now I want to launch it. I would like to go for launch. Okay, press. This is the action I have defined. Start is one of the action. After that, what action I have taken? Navigate. So in the navigate, where you are navigating, I am navigating into facebook.com. That's what I have mentioned in the application modular, right? Application explorer. Press OK. Fine. So I'm not going to the next steps. First, I am going to work out with the first action. Okay. So let me link. Once you design the actions, you have to link which action should execute first, which action execute next. Select. Just left click here and drag it. Left click and drag it. Leave. That's it. Once you give the link, then go to pointer. Then you will come into the normal position and save the business object. Already your business object is saved with the name of RTL_Facebook. But every time when you make the changes and when you try to change, when you try to save it, it's going to ask you, please enter the name launch application action. Every time when you make some changes, it will ask you to enter some description. It's mandatory because system is going to maintain the history. What are the changes you have done before you save the object? Okay, save changes. And there is an option here, reset. Now let me close this application because we wanted to launch the application directly. We selected that application is not running. It has to open the application automatically and enter the URL also, right? So how will you run the business object? You can run from here. As we discussed, all the business objects will be included in the process studio. There you are running the process, but you can run your business object here itself. We call it as a unit testing. We have built one business object, and how many pages are there? One page. How many actions are there? Only one action. Only one action we have. This start and end, of course, those are built-in actions. Okay. So now let me run this. When you try to run the business object, it's going to ask me, do you want to run this fast, normal and slow? Let me go in the normal method. Okay. Let's run it. Now you can see it's telling that it's failed to perform the step 1. No target application information has been set. Go to properties. We have done the mistake is very simple. In application modular, select. We said we have to navigate to the facebook.com and we have not mentioned where the cursor should be present in the initial stage. In the initial stage. Okay. So that's why what I am trying to do is here. So once you come to the application modular and once you open the application, say launch, testing we are doing, it's going to be launched here, right? Now my cursor should enter here. My cursor should be present here. So I have to get this information, this field information. Okay. Generally, if you want to get that field information in Internet Explorer, so if we enter any web application in the browser, if you press F12, I can see what properties are there, for all your fields. Okay, and what is the class name and other information. This all we can see, right? For any web browser, this will be configured here. For any web browser, we can see here all the properties. To identify this particular button, for example, you are going to say, when I click this button, login button, now we can see the properties are changed. Okay, so which button you have selected, login page, some this explorer, these options are. Don't worry about this code. We are not going to talk about this. Just I am telling you, the moment when we enter into the Facebook application or any business application, we want to spy this element. Spy means recognize. Spy is nothing but a recognize. How will you recognize? Your automation tool will automatically recognize it. Okay. So first what we have to do is, okay, enter your element name, click identify, click identify. And when you place the cursor, you can see some color you are getting, right? Borderline, login button here, here. So it is able to recognize each and every option. Each and every option it is able to recognize. So what action you want to perform, that you have to pick up. First I need this, right? I would like to have this. Use control, press control and click. Control and left click. Now you can see that system has captured complete properties of that particular element. Complete properties of that particular element it has. It is checked means those properties are retrieved from your application. Okay, so just go for ascending order. You can see some of the properties are enabled, but null value is there. Those properties we don't require. I'll explain you later why we don't require. If those properties are there, what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage, we'll discuss later. Okay, so now we can see whatever the properties are enabled. Obviously for that we have the values. For that we have the values and some name we have given. Some name we have given. Say apply and okay. We are not going to do anything here. So as soon as the navigator has come here, that you are going to launch it. So now let's close the application. Reset. Before you launch the application, reset it and go for runs. Now the web application is launched. Okay. This is one action I have performed. This is very simple action we have performed. Okay, fine. So yes, someone has entered some doubts here. Let me go to calculate. Can we automate any kind of routine work? Rajesh, yes, we can automate. Jagdish, how about system admin related tasks? Can it be automated? Jagdish, obviously if the admin related, like you want to go for schedule some process and process is submitted or not. If the process is submitted, then send an email to someone, everything that can be automated. And someone is not on the mute, it is disturbing others. Please keep it on mute. Yes. Is there any framework in RPA? No, we don't have any framework. So we are trying to automate already some frameworks, right? Already some applications. Rajesh, you would like to automate some SQL work. Yes, you can automate SQL work, but you need to provide your queries. What queries you want to execute. System cannot write the query. Automation cannot write the query. If automation is going to write a query, that comes under the developer projects, not the automation projects. If you say I have some 10 to 20 queries fixed, your automation tool, Blue Prism tool should connect to the database and execute the query, get the data, send an email, or that can be done. You must give the queries early. And does Blue Prism support mobile based applications? As of now, Chandrakant, it's only desktop, no mobile based application. Is it open source? No, Rajesh, it is licensed. You are supposed to pay the money to the Blue Prism company, then they'll provide. Yes, if I forgot my password, so at that time, what will I do? Anand, I'm not clear actually which password it is. Okay, in Facebook application, that also you need to handle it. That's an exception, right? In case the password is how many times you want to attempt, system will try to do those many attempts. And if still not finding, then you have to take an exception and you have to contact some other. Yes, exactly. Durga, we can merge all the Excel files in Blue Prism. Can you explain, Anil Reddy, we are going to talk about that end of the batch. We'll be talking application. I'm going to explain. We have a documentation part. We'll be talking about how the real-time project will be under project we are going to discuss. For SAP and mainframes, I may not be able to tell you mainframe applications because that application is difficult to get the access. Only few clients will have, so we cannot. But I can tell you how it can be automated and what are the steps we have to take it. Okay, so that's the question, Devi. Next, Rajesh. Do I need to install anything in my production environment if I need to automate anything like SQL? Yes, obviously we have to do installation and database connectivities we have to install and do it. Any type of database Blue Prism is going to be flexible. Any type of, it may be SQL Server or Oracle or any type of database, it will be connected. Do we require any database knowledge? Suresh, not required. To learn a Blue Prism, we don't require any prerequisition. Okay, no, we don't require. Can you explain the architecture of Blue Prism? Yesterday we have discussed the architecture. Anyway, tomorrow we'll discuss, no issue. How much does this Blue Prism cost for a single user license for training classes? Senthil, we don't have any training software or license. Whatever software I'm using, which is licensed, which is from my previous company, which I'm using it. Okay, we don't have any general. It's a licensed product only I'm using. People who has enrolled for our course, we will provide you this complete software and we will install in your system. Don't worry, we'll do that. Blue Prism support how many integrations, Chandrakant? It can support for any integration, Chandrakant. It's a starting point for the Blue Prism. Let's 1 year baby now. In future, any integrations which are not compatible but still ready to automate. Obviously, new versions will support. CAPTCHA code is difficult. Basavaras, we cannot. That has to be done in another way. We have to use OCR option, optimal character recognition. We have to use with Modi application, Modi support application, Microsoft object recording. That's based on that we can do it. Okay, fine, guys. Thank you. So I hope you are clear with the questions. Fine. So now I have performed the first action. First action I have performed, launch. Then the second is I wanted to enter my email ID in the email field automatically. What you are trying to do, you are trying to write. You are trying to write the data in the field, right? So go to business object, and where is the action called? Write. So use this action. Let me remove this link. After launching the application, what exactly you want to do? You want to write something on the application. Where you want to write? What do you want to write? Go to double click. Right side system is telling that in application modular means this. In application modular, you have already identified one element called email ID. How will you identify it? So you want to delete this, you can delete. Let's say clear. Okay. So go to your Facebook and here click launch. It will launch your application. I want to spy this particular element, means identify this particular element. Okay. So what you have to do is use the control here, select identify, click identify. Now see, wherever you go, it's identifying all the things. Which one you required here. So now you have to use control, press enter. Control, press enter. Immediately my blue prism tool is going to capture all the properties of that element from this application. It has captured what are the properties are there for that. Some of the properties are null values. So that you have to uncheck, because I don't want to consider those properties because null value is there. Okay. So again, ascend and descending order, make sure that whatever the properties are enabled, all the properties are having the values. If null value is there, what happened, we'll discuss in the next level. Okay, fine. Still you have some doubt. Maybe I'm not able to spy properly. What you can do is highlight. Means you wanted to test it. So click this highlight button. It will tell you that has recognized that element or not. Yes, it has recognized, and automatically it returns to the blue prism. Okay, press apply and OK. So now go to writer, double click. This is what our element, right? Drag where? Here. Drag this element, and what value you want to pass, what value you want to write. Okay, double quotation. In blue prism, whenever you want to pass any value, static means hard coding, dynamic means variable. We'll discuss that tomorrow session. Tomorrow session will be discussing that. Static means fixed value. Okay, so you have to do the double quotation RPA dot Naresh @gmail.com, double quotation. Okay, press. So first your business object execution will be started and Facebook application will be launched, and then you are writing some information into the email ID element, and then you are going to close. Okay, so let me close the application because we said launch it. Okay, now we have to go for link the actions, link the actions here, and select pointer. You will come back to the normal position, save the business object. Some meaningful information you can provide, then reset. Reset means maybe you are in some other place, you will come into the starting position, and sorry, then you can go for launch. Now the system has launched it and entered some value here. Same thing I want to do it for the password. Same thing I want to do it for the password. Again, I have to go to application modular. Application modular is the main part where you are going to inspect all your elements. Without application modular, I cannot touch the application. Touch means read or write or click. Any action I cannot perform. First you have to spy the element, right? See, when I open my application, there are a number of options. You have to tell to the blue prism tool which one you want to inspect first. Okay, and what exactly. Now I want to spy the password. I want to spy the password element. Element means, what is the definition of element? Element is nothing but an object on the application. It may be a text item, it may be a button, it may be a hyperlink, it may be an image, or it may be a list of values, or it may be a radio button. So any of these all are elements, right? These all are elements. Okay, fine. So now I'm going to the blue prism, and one element we have already identified. Now I'm going for another element. And what is the name? This passcode. Click this identify button. Are you identifying in this application? Not, right? Where is your application? Internet Explorer. Select that. Here we wanted to identify it, spy it. Now you can see the moment when your cursor is placed here, it's spying. You have to use control button, press control and left click, control and left click, leave it. Immediately it will capture all the properties of that particular element. Now you can see, you can go for uncheck the properties which are having the null values. Okay, so now I wanted to test it. Am I able to uh, accept that element or not? Click highlight button, it will tell you exactly it is spying or not. Then it is returning back to the blue prism. Apply and OK. Now go to the object studio. In password also I want to write the information, right? I would like to write. Again, what do you have to do? Select, write. Remove this existing link. Properties. If you want to change the name, you can change password. And here is right side, application explorer, data explorer. Very important question in the interviews. Application explorer will give you in your application whatever elements are there. Okay, and now this is what we require. Data explorer will discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay, now I required passcode. Just drag it and go to value field and enter your value here. Double quote RPA 123456. That's the password. Okay, I have entered the double quotation here. Press OK. Now link the execution and select point. Save it. Press it. Now let's close it and go for run the process, run the object. Now it's going to launch the web application and enter the username. Yes, system is not able to identify the email ID. You got some error message here. Failed to perform step 1 in write stage. In writer 1 action there is a problem. Okay, no element match the supplied query item. So there is a writer 1. What system is telling us, I am not able to find that particular field. The reason is, when that action is performing, by that time your application is not launched. Immediately cursor is trying to place in the email ID field. Okay, so what you can do is, now there is an option called wait option. We'll talk about that later, wait options and all. Right now I'm going to reset. And then I'm going to debug this in the slowly and run this. Fine. No problem. If that is not able to identify, no issue. Go to application modular. Problem with email ID, right? So go to highlight button. It will tell you whether it's going to be highlighted or not. Yes, it's highlighted, but anyway, we'll go for identify once. Yes, do the left click here. Click highlight. Now it's highlighted. Apply. Okay. Now save this. Changes, reset, and run this. Then later enter the password. Okay. So sometimes what happened, your browser loading it and all, it takes some time. Then we can use the wait command. Wait command, how much time you want to wait for that particular element. We'll discuss that later. Okay. So this is very simple. We just enter. For example, in my application, there are 100 fields like this. Right now, how many fields? Only 2. Do I need to have these 100 writers in my process? In a single one only, you can go for add one by one. Here itself, you can go for add one by one action. That we'll discuss tomorrow. In the tomorrow session, we'll discuss the second action. Right now, we have completed how many actions? 3 actions we have completed. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing remaining 3 and we'll have some other options. Okay. Yes. So now we'll discuss. Right. Please enter your doubts. I'll go for clarify. Yes, Dagdis. Okay. How about programming knowledge, Suresh? Programming knowledge is not required, Suresh. Okay. But you need to have to practice some if statement and loop. That I'll give you, no problem. I'll give you the complete. Okay. Durga, if we get Blue Prism software from beginning of class, Durga, you need to enroll for the session, enroll for the course. Please contact this person, Mr. Naresh, and please enroll to the session. Then everything will be provided from today. Okay. So as these are demo sessions, some people may not be clear for the current batch, so they will be attending for next batch. How to remove the link in Blue Prism? Just select the link and remove, delete. We don't need any option. For example, you want to delete any link here. Let's say just you have to click on this and it will be highlighted, select delete. Then the link will be deleted. Select delete option. Yes. Rajesh, I noticed only browser, SAP and desktop something to automate. So is SAP is a desktop application or browser application or any Java application? It will be obviously any type of application, right? So that way patches will be given, Rajesh. We need to get the Blue Prism licensed software from Blue Prism company. Then they'll ask you, okay, which application you are looking. These are default applications they given. So based on that, we can do it. Nagendra, how do we validate entered email ID is valid one or not? That comes under testing, Nagendra. When you click the login button, already developer has written, right? So that is when you click the login button, developer might have written validation here. I'm not going to do the development. I'm just trying to do the automation. So that comes under testing part. Whether it is a valid or not, that is a testing part. If it is not valid, what you have to do, we can do it. Error handling. Exception error handling, we can do it. Okay. Devi, that's batch processing also, it will work anywhere you go for execute. That's again select the options, right? Group of things that has to be automated. Suresh, material will be provided soft copy. Can we automate Blue Prism in Salesforce application? Yes. Yes, KK, it can be done. Senthil Kumar, is it useful for the software tester? 100% Senthil, it will be very useful. Okay, fine. So guys, this will be loaded in the YouTube. So yesterday session, yes, today session is closed. Okay, and yesterday also we have sent the video file. Somebody might not be received, but definitely first 3 days are going to be our demo sessions as we told. Okay, so yesterday session also is there in the YouTube, and you can see here RTL RPA. RTL RPA you can search, and you can see that Blue Prism yesterday class. This is Blue Prism online training demo, RPA online training, RTL Technologies. This is yesterday's session. Today also we'll go for upload it. Tomorrow also we'll go for upload. We can access. We are not going to share from our server today. Okay, today and tomorrow also directly you can access from here, no problem. Okay, you can access from here directly. So maybe it takes couple of hours to upload into the YouTube. Okay, thank you. So let's meet, guys. Email ID is not required, Jay. You can access from YouTube directly. Jyoti, please talk with Naresh. He is the person who will give you all the details. 709-333-9062 regarding batches and all. Okay. Regarding batch, timings, your resume preparation, everything, he will give you the details. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, your valuable timings. Okay. So that's about today, how we can build a simple, when you look out in the initial stage, navigation will be more like application modular and all. The same action we are going to do tomorrow also. Tomorrow also I'm going to perform same, but we will be completing tomorrow the remaining actions. And I'll start from basic tomorrow. Right from the first point I'll start so that it will be more clear to everybody. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.